Today, the United States is planning to show off its military power by sending almost half of its fleet of aircraft carriers to the Western Pacific. It will happen in the Western Pacific area. Many people think that this action, which hasn't been done in years, is meant to send China and North Korea a strong warning of deterrence. Tensions between the two countries are still rising, which leads to this conclusion. U.S. aircraft carriers are currently stationed in the Western Pacific. It is likely that 2 more carriers will soon join the group. According to reports from the Fleet and Marine Tracker of the U.S. Naval Institute, the U.S. Navy's Pacific Fleet, which includes the USS Abraham Lincoln, left its home port in San Diego, California, and was heading toward the Western Pacific as of February 5th. Witnesses saw this to be the case. Furthermore, it is worth mentioning that the U.S. Navy ship George Washington will soon take over the duties currently performed by the U.S. Navy ship Ronald Reagan in the area. Since the George Washington is coming from Yokosuka, Japan, to the Puget Sound Naval Port in Washington, which is in the state of Washington, for repair, this becomes necessary. George Washington, the first nuclear-powered aircraft carrier sent to Japan from 2008 to 2015, has finished midlife repair and an organizational change. During 2008-2015, the George Washington was in Japan. This happening means that the ship's deployment is getting closer. Because of these operations, the U.S. will be able to show its support for the Indo-Pacific region, even though recent events in Ukraine and the Middle East are causing headlines around the world. 5 of the 11 ship crew members will be working in it at the same time, which has never happened before in recent history. Before this has never happened. The recent military drills in the area have included U.S. aircraft carriers, which has brought attention to the region's strategic importance. For example, the Philippine Sea saw joint drills between the U.S. Navy's Theodore Roosevelt and Carl Vinson strike groups. There were these drills in the Philippines. Drills were mostly about getting better at air defense and marine communication operations. These acts, according to analysts, send a strong message of assurance to allies while also sending a negative message of deterrence to competitors, especially China and North Korea. Brian Hart, a fellow at the Center for Strategic and International Studies who works on the Chinamite project, says that publicly obvious military power symbols like aircraft carriers work well. As a result of being so visible, aircraft carriers are seen as strong images. Associate Professor Benjamin Barton at the University of Nottingham's Malaysia campus stresses how important this deployment is in light of the present fighting in Europe and the Middle East. This move shows that the U.S. government is putting a lot of focus on the Indo-Pacific region. Senior scholar Colin Coe at Singapore's S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies says that tensions still remain in important areas like the Korean Peninsula, the Taiwan Strait, and the South China Sea. Coe notices this. Given this situation, it seems that the U.S. needs to have a strong presence to reassure friends and stand up to possible enemies. Worries about Beijing's plans for Taiwan are raised by the deployment. Since Beijing plans to hold extraordinary military drills before Taiwan's presidential election in May, the plans are for these drills to happen in May. A senior international military analyst at the RAND Corporation named Timothy Heath says that the deployment may be a reaction to any malicious actions China might take in the area. It's possible, according to Heath. The U.S.'s plan to send many aircraft carriers to the Western Pacific marks a big increase in the country's military power. Despite growing geopolitical problems, this is done to show that the U.S. is committed to its friends and keep the area safe.